Well, good morning. I'm up in the mountains of western North Carolina, and I'm always looking out for ways to help my viewers and subscribers enjoy their backyard nature and observing nature in general on their travels. And I've got three fun new optical products from GoSky that I'm going to be testing out and showing you over the next several weeks. We've got the top-of-the-line EagleView spotting scope and two very affordable mid-range products, the 10 by 42 binoculars and a 12 power by 55 monocular. And they all three come with smartphone holders. But today I'm going to spend my time talking about the top-of-the-line spotting scope. It's really pretty exciting. And over the coming weeks I'll show you some examples of how to use the binoculars and the monocular and some really fun examples. So stay tuned. This is the GoSky 20 to 60 power by 85 ED prime spotting scope. This is the top-of-the-line spotting scope from GoSky, and it compares favorably with spotting scopes that cost, in some cases, many times more. The first thing you notice about it is the fit and finish is outstanding, and the combination aluminum magnesium alloy gets the weight down 4.4 pounds, so about 71 ounces. Which is pretty reasonable considering the power of the scope. The frame has a real nice coating on it, sort of a rubberized and texturized coating in important places. And it's a 45-degree angled spotting scope, which I prefer, especially if you're using a holder with the smartphone to take videos and images with. But for me personally, I just like the angled versions. Of course, a substantial spotting scope like this really needs to be used on a tripod. You want to use a fairly substantial and sturdy tripod to get the most stable view. And it has a solid tripod mount, and it also has the ability to rotate the spotting scope while it's on the tripod mount. And your focusing wheel. And it has a extendable sunshade, which this is actually, like a lot of the higher end spotting scopes, this spotting scope is waterproof, so you can use it in the rain. So not only is the extendable shield good to keep stray sunlight and glare out of the lens, but also on a rainy day it'll help keep the rain from dripping on your lens, because you can use this in any kind of weather. Now basically when I'm using this outdoors, I just pretty much extend this all the time. Unless it's really a cloudy day. And then the eyepiece, and then your magnification. On the eyepiece here, you can extend it out. It depends on your whether you wear glasses or not, and whether you are nearsighted or farsighted. You can experiment with this, but the main thing is, just like most of the high-end spotting scopes, it's got a lot of flexibility. Now personally I wear glasses, but I can see really good up close, so if I'm going to be spending a lot of time on the scope, I'll just take my glasses off and use it without my glasses. So this provides the flexibility you need to get in a comfortable viewing position. So this is an ED scope, which is extra low dispersion glass, which is beyond HD. There's a lot of scopes out there that are HD and at a higher price point than even this one with the ED glass. It also has fully multi-coated lenses. And the nice thing about this is the newly redesigned one is only 17 inches long, and it's really got a nice balanced feel to it. The EagleView spotting scope also comes with a protective cover and of course lens caps, and the protective cover goes on nice and tight, allows you access to all the controls. The rotatable tripod collar has a little detent in it there you can feel where you know you have the dead center, to always be able to recenter it. Now that I put it on there, I think I'll probably leave it on there. There are a lot of 20 to 60 by 80 spotting scopes out there, but this one being 20 to 60 by 85 does a couple of things. One, it has the larger objective lens that lets more light in and also gives you a wider field of view. And one thing that's nice about the 85 millimeter objective lens is you can get a lot clearer pictures on a cloudy day. And I've been up here in the mountains for the last couple of weeks testing it out, and been a lot of cloudy and rainy days, and I've been using it in those conditions, and you can still get good quality imagery and video. And of course the proof is in the pudding, as I like to say. So when I show you the examples that you get out of this, it's does a pretty amazing job. The one thing that's nice about optics is that they're organic, in the sense that if your goal is to really enjoy wildlife more, be it bird watching or wildlife viewing, there's no batteries, there's no electronics, it's just you and the eyepiece and nature. So there's a certain relaxing, organic feeling to it for just enjoying and getting close to nature. A lot of people obviously want to take videos and photos, or even enhance their ability to look through the scope. It comes with a real nice smartphone adapter that you can attach, and you get videos and photos with your smartphone. So let's go over how this attaches and set up your smartphone. It's pretty simple to use. It looks like it would accommodate just about any smartphone on the market. Now, I don't really have what you would call a high-end smartphone. This is a Motorola 5G ultra wide, which has a 108 megapixel camera, and of course I'm shooting it almost always in 4K video, and I would recommend that you always shoot in 4K video, even though the file sizes are big. But basically this should fit just about any smartphone. And your smartphone, of course, is one of the variables in the quality of the image you're going to get, but most of them are pretty good. So you get it tightened down real good, and you want to adjust it so that your power button is and your controls are below here. You don't want to put it up there. And you want to tighten this. This is real nice that you can positively tighten it down rather than using it spring-loaded. And then from here you have pretty much an infinite adjustment. And on my camera, it's the middle camera that is the one that I want to use. And then you want to get it lined up with the camera just in the middle of the, right about there. And then you simply attach it to the scope. And you want to make sure when you're doing this, I will use two hands. So you tighten it down on the scope, and you want to make sure you get it, really down there firm and even all the way around, and then tighten it down pretty good. And once you get it tightened down, it's not going to go anywhere. Just simply decide whether you're going to be shooting in portrait or landscape. I was just shooting a lot of Hummingbird videos recently, and they kind of lend themselves to sharing online at, say, Instagram or stories on YouTube, so you might as well go ahead and shoot it in 9:16 mode rather than landscape. But you can certainly shoot in landscape, and in a lot of cases when you're shooting, particularly at a distance, animals and things like that, you want to be in landscape, and so you just shoot this way. To go along with your smartphone and adapter to take photos and videos, you're going to want to have your spotting scope on a good tripod. But also, these are fairly common. You can get them for just a couple of bucks. This is a Bluetooth remote shutter for your smartphone camera. That way you can take photos and videos with your phone without touching the tripod of your phone. I mean, when you're at 60 power, zoomed in on something, just even touching the spotting scope and things like that is going to cause a little jiggle. Now in videos it's not that big of a deal because you can always edit out the beginning of the video where it jiggles a little bit. But especially for taking photographs, you're going to want to use a remote control. The most simplest one is Bluetooth. A lot of phones you can simply snap your fingers or make some kind of motion to set off the shutter, but for simplicity and reliability you can't go wrong with a Bluetooth shutter. The one advantage, of course, of having the phone on here and looking through it, if you're going to be spending, hours at a time watching an area, and that's really what these scopes are good for. Places like, national parks like Yellowstone and Glacier, or any place where you have really interesting animals and activity going on at a distance, this will really bring it in close. Obviously in your backyard looking at birds and things like that, or a wetland in Florida, for example, a lot of times there's a lot of interesting bird activity that might be several hundred yards away or even further. You can watch them without disturbing them at a distance and really get some nice looks at them, some nice photos and videos using just your smartphone. It doesn't bother the animals, they're acting totally natural, and you get to see a lot of more interesting things, especially with nesting birds. I mean, of course, there's ethics. You don't ever want to bother nesting birds. and you want to stay as far away so you don't disturb them. So particularly if you got a case for a rookery or someplace like that, this is, you know, ideal for watching nesting birds. Even in my own backyard, sometimes I have crows or hawks nesting up in the top of pine trees that are, you know, in the jungle behind the backyard that, oh, you know, 400 or 500 feet or farther behind the yard. And there's, you know, there's just simply no way to watch them reliably with a camera, but with a spotting scope you can get it set up in the right spot and check on it every day. And I'll talk a little bit more about the camera comparisons later. Just to summarize the physical features of the GoSky spotting scope, the workmanship and the fit and feel is just outstanding, and it really feels good in the hand. It can be pretty overwhelming when you go on Google or Amazon and start shopping for spotting scopes. Even at the 20 to 60 by 80 millimeter range, there's a lot of scopes on the market that vary in price from down in the around $100 up to $3,000 or $4,000. So obviously there's something there about price points and quality, and this particular scope at this price point and this build quality is pretty impressive. But in this case, you can get a real high-end, well-built scope for a really affordable price, and it really does make a difference. Extra low dispersion and the fully motor-coated glass, and of course the extra large objective lens, 85 millimeters, really lets in a lot of light. You know, almost all the examples that I'm going to show you we're taking in less than optimum conditions, usually cloudy, and in some cases, you know, almost raining. There's a lot of factors that come into play about the quality of the imagery and the video you're going to get. Some of them are you can control, and some of them are beyond your control, but the quality of the equipment can help you get the most out of whatever your environmental situations are. I won't go into great detail about the art of digiscoping now. I will be publishing a series of videos on digiscoping techniques and tips with spotting scopes and smartphones in the future. The following are some extended examples of digiscoping I did while testing out the EagleView spotting scope. I hope this whetted your appetite for this relatively simple and affordable way of enjoying nature and wildlife, and you'll stay tuned for future videos. Okay, here's the Canon SX70 at 65x optical, at the exact same spot as the spotting scope. Now we'll zoom in to about the equivalent, which is pretty much maximum zoom on this one. Back off just a bit. 208 power, optical plus digital. So actually at this kind of distance, the the aesthetic and the quality of the video of the Hummingbird is superior with a spotting scope and a cell phone than it is with the Canon SX70. Yeah. Two power is about the sweet spot, I would say. Attack sharp eyes. No, he's in the shade, so a hummingbird in the shade is going to be muted green and red until he fires up that gorget. Nice.